No clue. No clue. Absolutely none.
Cool. What is endometriosis?
Sounds like something I don't know about. My name's Samantha Herold and I'm 19 years old. And I have endometriosis.
My name's Brittany Long, I'm 18 years old and I have endometriosis.
My name's Samantha, I'm 32 and I have endometriosis.
My name's Blake Napping, I'm 28 years old and my partner has endometriosis.
It's just like a humiliating experience. I remember because it was an emergency operation, there wasn't a gyno there, so they didn't do the normal routine. So like they didn't give me a pad and I like started bleeding all over the bed, and like they'd sent my family home, so I had to be like by myself and go ask a nurse to come and stand me up and like change the sheets, and then I think they gave me gauze because they didn't have pads in the ward, and I was like, I was so over it. And then the next morning, 6 people came in and were like, "Hi, I'm the doctor. This is another doctor and the surgeon and another doctor and a student doctor." And I was like, okay, am I going to find out what's going on now? Yeah, and then they said, well, you have endometriosis. And I was like, okay, that's, I guess, okay.
So I was diagnosed via exploratory laparoscopy in January of this year, the 8th of January. I'd suffered with really severe period pain, irregular bleeding, really, really severe bleeding ever since I first got my period in year 8. And yeah, over the years I'd seen multiple gynaes who just basically said, take the pill, you'll be right, have some naproxenics, have some Ponston, because I was being hospitalised on multiple occasions because it was so bad.
I guess the pain got worse and the periods were very heavy, and I was having some breakthrough bleeding as well, and then the pain eventually became the whole month and month after month, and so I went to the doctor. I got an ultrasound and it was extensive enough that it showed that one of my fallopian tubes was inflamed, so that led me to the surgery.
Yeah, and it causes severe pain, causes a whole bunch of complications for the person who has it to be uncomfortable in day-to-day life, and yeah.
I wish I knew more. Like there's so many different things that people tell you. So I know the basics is that it's the lining that grows inside of your uterus, grows on other things too. But like you don't know how it's caused, you don't know why you get pain from it. I think that's what annoys me the most, because I've always had this thing where they tell you like you have pain for a reason.
I probably know more than the average person would, but I'm still trying to piece it all together.
I think it's important for women and girls of all ages, once they start puberty, to know that they shouldn't have to be suffering in pain, and the conception within society that it's just something women have to go through needs to change. So, I'm trying to do every bit I can to raise awareness, because I didn't know what it was, and if I had have known, maybe I would have fought for a diagnosis sooner. And I know that the average diagnosis is just way too long, and I'm one of the lucky ones, so to speak. But yeah, so that's why raising awareness is so important.
It has mostly affected my life in the last year because the symptoms have become increasingly worse. It's affected in my work because the pain was so severe and extensive and every day that it just took an accumulative effect, I guess, on my health and my physical health, and I guess my ability to cope in just day-to-day things. And it wasn't until I got an official diagnosis that I sort of allowed myself to realise that it's been something I've been struggling with. So
can't work. There's a lot of things I can't do because of it, so I might as well just talk about it. And I think it's frustrating to constantly feel like you have to explain yourself. So I wish people just knew what it was. Like if you had cancer, people wouldn't be like, oh, well, okay, what's that? Like, tell me more. Like people know. Whereas when, I tell people I have endometriosis, they're like, oh, so your periods are bad. And I'm like, no, I'm in pain all the time. Like I can't have periods anymore because of how much that kills me, but everyday life sucks.
I'm in pain 24/7 at the moment. The placement of the marina has caused me more issues, and I'm waiting to see a private gynecologist who I'm really, really desperate that can help me. But yeah, pain, it means that I'm literally living with heat bags, a TENS machine, which you use to the top settings it can go to, and it doesn't even touch the pain.
What is a TENS machine?
It's basically like a stimulator. So you get like sticky pads, and they're connected to a little machine that sends pulses through that's supposed to stop the pain signals. So I've literally tried everything.
The community could help with the endometriosis problem, so to speak, by just talking about it a little bit more, I feel, and making people more aware to it actually being a thing.
It's hard having like an invisible disease, and it's hard going on the train trying to get somewhere and having to sit on the floor because people won't give you a seat because you look fine. So I think just always think about other people. If you see someone passing you in the shopping centre, like they might not be okay. Like they might be in excruciating amounts of pain. And I often try and fake it and try and hold it together because I don't want to look like a sick person. I don't want to be treated differently. I want to live a normal life. But just keep in mind that sometimes, as much as they're trying to put on a face, they still might not be okay. And it's important to still ask people how they're going and give them a safe space to talk about that, instead of just encouraging people to not talk about how they're going and keep faking it and keep just sitting on the floor instead of asking someone for a seat.
Things that I think that the community could do to help address endometriosis is what you guys are doing, creating awareness and talking about it openly. It can be a very taboo subject still, just like talking about the fact that women get periods.
The most important thing I want people to know about endometriosis is that you don't have to suffer alone in silence. With more awareness being brought to it, I think is a really positive thing, especially people high up in the social media world like Emma Wiggle or people of that type of social status even. But I think it's important that people know that it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter how young you are. And, the earlier the diagnosis, the better. The community needs to see it as an actual, like a disease, an illness, because it is. It's not simply just period pain and something that you get once a month, take a few Panadol for, and, you'll be right. It goes a lot deeper than that. It's people being hospitalised on numerous occasions, desperate for pain relief because everything that they have at home doesn't work anymore. And, they need to not be treated like drug seekers.
I know it's a problem that a lot of women have when they get a lot of pain.
Female reproductive tissue grows in places where it's not supposed to be.
Yes.
Endometriosis is when the lining of your uterus sheds in the wrong places, so that blood clots build up where they shouldn't, and you can get scar tissue around your ovaries or fallopian tubes, etc., etc. That's it.